Welcome to Landscaping Podcast. My name is Joel Barnett and I'm your host. And in today's episode, I'm talking with Liam Riley from Indigenous Design Landscaping. Liam runs a design and construction company based in Melbourne, working on residential and commercial properties and doing sustainable and environmentally sensitive gardens. And it's a pretty cool story how he started as well, because he started out handing out flyers in his street and just coincidentally handed it to a fella in his street who owned Indigenous Design and ended up working for him and then becoming a business partner and then taking over the business. So that was a pretty cool story how he started. And he also studied business course as well as doing landscaping. So he, like a lot of people, he's more of a natural landscaper. So he wanted to learn more about the business. So he did that, which is a pretty wise thing to do. And he's got, I think he said 18 staff on site. So he talks about how he's always happy to upskill his staff. So whether they're working in construction and want to do design, he's happy to send them off to do a design course to increase their skills, because that benefits both the employee and the employer. And he's also talking about, like Marty Simpkins said, about working flexible days, like having employees who only work 3 days a week, for example. So gives you a bigger pool of the market to choose from. And also, I asked him about the difference between residential and commercial and what the pros and cons are. So he touches on that a bit as well. So it's a good chat with Liam and plenty of good bits of advice in here. So hopefully you enjoy this chat with Liam Riley. Liam, thank you very much for joining us on the Landscaping Podcast. My first question for you is, how did you start in the industry?
Thanks, Joel. Thanks for having me on. I suppose it started a long time ago, really. Parents, they were keen gardeners. Growing up in Warrendale, we had a bit of land around us, so surrounded by State Park and the like. So, they were always out and about, just doing what they were doing in the garden, I suppose, just giving them a hand and, just really enjoying that, being outside and getting reward for effort, all the rest of it. Used to love football and sport, so I sort of aligned to landscaping, I suppose, more than sitting behind a desk or just being outside. So, so it sort of flowed from there, I suppose. I got to a stage where I started to need some money and thought, look, I'm doing VCE. I still really don't know what I'm doing. So I'll start handing out some flyers, and just went up and down the main road and just handed out flyers, just trying to get work with whoever, really, mowing lawns or cleaning gutters or just odd jobs, really, just to sort of get a taste of what it would be like, sort of working outside of the parents' house. So, got a bit of a taste of it and sort of enjoyed it. And, thought, well, let's just do my apprenticeship. So I sort of, one of the flyers I handed out was actually sort of a landscaper, and he was into environmental works and all the rest of it. And as it turns out, he ended up being my business partner for years and years. So I started working with him just after school, and did my apprenticeship through him. And it sort of just grew from there, really, and just really enjoyed just being outside and getting that reward for effort. So I still think now to myself, is it what I want to do? It's one of those careers that, you're sort of up and down, but, I'm well entrenched now, and you've got a few staff behind us and got some projects. So it's definitely what I'll be doing. So, I had a bit of a realization halfway through all of that maybe landscaping's not going to be able to earn the dollars that I need to have a family and all the rest of it. You're sort of back in early 2000s and even late 1999 and the rest of it. The hourly rates were just, I recall, $7.50, just not great, and something that, I don't know, wasn't going to, I suppose you wouldn't be able to live off that, that's for sure. So I ended up doing a business degree and went to RMIT and studied business, and and then realised probably that wasn't for me either, but it really gave me really good grounding to running a business. So I was landscaping the whole way through a 5-year degree, which I did at night time, and that probably sort of set me up for where I am now. I don't know if I draw on it every day or think I'm the best businessman going around, but I was definitely paying attention and finished the degree and all the rest of it. So those life lessons along the way, you sort of become who you are through all of that. So that's sort of how I loosely got into landscaping. Sort of fell into it, which I suppose a lot of people do.
I was my first. I got paid with a check when I was an apprentice. That was every week, and I was getting $7.10 an hour. So,
right. Well, there you go. See, I wasn't too far off. I think these days, what apprentices, they're 17 plus, so up 20 plus if they're worth their salt. So
Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't a lot of money, but yeah, could spend a lot more as well. There were dollar pot days back in those days as well, so it's good times.
You used to go to Sizzler. I remember that $10 used to get a long way. You go to Sizzler, and you could have a good night with your friends and come home. So yeah, you're right. $7.50 did get a long way, but yeah.
So with the first valley you worked for, what was the company called?
Well, sort of where I am now, I sort of feel a little bit institutionalized, really. So Indigenous Design was born back in the 80s by a guy called Alan Noy, and like I said, he lived in the street. So when I was handing out those flyers, he gave me an opportunity, and it really just grew from there. So he had one, maybe two people, and now there's quite a few of us. And yeah, I just sort of grew with the company, and got to know landscaping and on a whole lot of environmental works as well. So I think come 2008, I became a director. Yeah, Alan was retiring and sort of handed over some of the business to his daughter. So Nicole and I basically run the business together. She looks after more of the environmental side of the business. I'm more landscaping and construction, and we do a lot of earthworks and bits and bobs. So yeah, look, yeah, I've been in the business for a long time, and I've sort of seen it grow, and from a couple of staff up to where it is now. So working on a range of projects, sort of commercial, local government, residential, yeah, and just sort of following the beast. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I had no idea that. Yeah, because it's how similar it is to my story. Because I started as an employee, the business,
Oh
and
yeah.
took over the business in 2009. So that's pretty similar timelines.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you just grow with confidence, and it's sort of hard to just go out and start a business. I've had a few people that have come through and have finished their apprenticeship with me, and have gone out and have been successful, and then not so successful. So there's so many facets to landscaping on the ground, as you know. But then to run a business is just another whole kettle of fish. So yeah, I suppose it gave me the time to really develop, fine tune the craft, fine tune what I know, learn business, run budgets, tenders, all those sorts of mundane things that you've got to do day in, day out. A whole lot of it you're not getting paid for those early days. To set the business up to where it is now, you're just doing just as many hours off the tools that aren't necessarily being paid for, but it's setting you up for down the track to hopefully feed off now and watch others come through and take the reins a little bit, and yeah, being very creative. Just watching them blossom is really good part of my day, my week, my year, really. So yeah.
And I imagine you'd be getting some repeat clients. So it's not like a quicker trade like plumbing or electrical where you get jobs maybe every year from a client. So it's landscaping. People might not change things for 9 or 10 years. So you're getting some repeat clients when you were an employee coming back?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we because we do a lot of work for local government in particular. So the councils around, we would work, a lot of projects throughout the year with those guys, either doing landscapes or building playgrounds and concrete footpaths and just general landscaping. So that we're tendering and getting RFQs sent to us, weekly. So there's some bigger councils around Melbourne that I would call it our bread and butter work. We just work for constantly, and as they move around from council to council, the people we're working for, we then find ourselves working for another council or another government body, whether it's Melbourne Water or just commercial builders. So yeah, we tend to not spread ourselves thin. We know what we do, but we do work for a variety of clients, and that generally just stems back to sort of all the native plants that we do and the sort of that natural landscaping that really has sort of kicked along recently and become quite popular. And a lot of the plans we look at, developers and residential clients for that matter, are sort of pushed down that path of planting native plants, and to get this permit over the line for a developer, they'll have to plant that or see some water, like a wetland that you spoke about before, and all that sort of stuff. So it really has helped us, I suppose, grow, and not necessarily searching for that work. It sort of came to us. There's a lot of competitors now. Yeah, early 2000s. Yeah, we were sort of inundated with the work, and grew steadily. Never grew too fast. We could always grow a lot quicker than probably what we have, and still to this day probably the case as well. But yeah, we just know what we do and just do it slowly and just try and have that niche market of really high quality, but for a reasonable price. We like those repeat clients. They're sort of the lifeblood of what we do, and yeah, it's it's enjoyable going back and adding to what you've done, or just continue on and improving those sites, whether they're schools or open parklands or someone's backyard. Yeah.
So you do design and construction. Do you do any maintenance as well?
Look, we do, as a part of some of our commercial contracts, we're obliged to do maintenance. So that might be 13-week establishment or a 2-year establishment program. So if we're handing it back over to local government. So we're not actively looking for commercial and residential maintenance. We're not geared up like that. So the other side of the business, which Nicole runs, it's all about environmental maintenance. So that's sort of the core of what they do. But no, for mine, we're really concentrating on sort of building a landscape, and then if we have to maintain it, we maintain it for a period of time before it's handed over. So yeah, look, maybe we might change. We're asked all the time if we do maintenance, but you've really got to be geared up. At the moment, we're sort of not geared up for doing maintenance. Yeah, it's a bit of it's a bit different. It's something we could probably do, but not just yet. Yeah.
Yep. And what about the commercial and residential projects? Do you have the same guys working on them, or have you got a commercial crew and residential crew?
We've got guys that definitely flip between the two, and they like doing that. Like I said before, it's sort of all similar style of landscaping. So, a lot of native plants, a lot of rock work. So it's not too different. Most of our residential jobs are, I would say, larger blocks. We do in a city work, but where we're geographically located in research, we've got a factory there, and there's sort of Eltham research, Kangaroo Ground. There's a bit more land around us. So in a way, it's sort of like a small commercial size project. So we do have staff that definitely flip between the two. We've got some that specialise in residential and some that sort of like the commercial landscaping. So, but generally on a whole, we're a team, and we do, sort of just switch between both. Yeah, so keep it interesting.
Yeah. Now, how many staff do you have at the moment?
Well, there's 18 on the tools, and then we've got a couple in the office. Sheena runs our administration, and I sort of oversee. We've got a construction manager and a project manager. I oversee those three, and then we're working with a few designers. We've got a subby who does a lot of our internal designs, two of which, that sort of go out as our designs, and we work with other designers like Stem and a few others, Planté. So which has been good. It's sort of, I suppose, as I've matured and gotten older, it's something that I'm sort of passionate about, is designing and learning from all my mistakes, but picking up plans that work, and you can make sure that this can be built the way it is on plan. There's been a few plans over the years where it's either a little bit unrealistic or costs are just prohibitive, and it's like, well, look, I could probably make a change here, so let's try and slowly build our D&C up and see if we can just not try and outdo anyone, but just keep a little bit more in house. And we used to never work with plans. They were just all mud maps, we'd call them, just sort of squiggles on a piece of paper or even on the ground, and landscape design has just come a long, long way. And I suppose as you move further up the chain and some of these jobs become, quite serious dollars, you do need the plan and sort of the backup of all the back end systems to make it work, so that the client feels like they're being well serviced, I suppose. So we rely on a few subbies. We could probably have a few more staff, but it's just, where do you stop? And it's all about the product and making sure that everyone's happy. And if work keeps coming, we might grow slowly as we've done over the years, but look, not in a position, and not the next 5 years, we don't want to grow astronomically, but it might be nice just to keep maturing and keep finding good staff. It's a bit of a battle at the moment trying to find people. So so all landscapers could probably say they could have double the amount of staff because they've got that much work, but it's just finding the cattle to be able to come through and actually build the jobs and finish them off at a level that we're happy with.
Yeah, it sort of depends on what your goals are, because a lot of people who've got bigger crews say that they're not necessarily making any more money than when they've got 3 guys on, in terms of profit wise. But you don't want to be knocking back work. So
No,
that's when they take on more employees. So it depends, yeah, because it helps build the profile as well by the more jobs you do, because you're going to get every now and then you'll get a great one out of it. So yeah, it depends on whether you want to be just ticking along making money, or if you want to build the brand and work on bigger
yeah,
projects.
yeah, I definitely agree. There's tipping points, isn't there? I forget who told me, but it might have been my brother actually. If you've got 7 employees, you need a manager to look after them. You want another 7, you need another manager, and so on and so forth. So yeah, look, hats off to some of the big landscapers that have hundreds of employees. I just don't know how they would.
But people that
I just
look at
want to
you
sleep
as a big
at night. How,
landscaper.
how, how well they must be organised behind the scenes to actually deliver a project that might go for 12 months, or might have a budget of millions and millions of dollars. It's risky business, and coming off the back of 6 months of rain, it's compounded that risk factor, I suppose. So yeah, look, we've set up a lot behind the scenes, so we do have good systems. We've invested in that, so I suppose that's how they operate. Landscaping at the end of the day is not super difficult. It's just a bit of hard yakka, and having that confidence behind you to keep pushing through.
So when you say you've invested in systems, like have you got like a business coach or someone to come in and implement them?
No, look, I did see a business coach early days. Not sure what I got out of him, to be honest. Yeah, it's probably my application towards it wasn't where he wanted it to be, but he's just busy, like trying to find the time to do a whole host of things. Is difficult. So yeah, the systems that sort of we've employed as really basic systems, but systems that are managed and followed up daily, and making sure that everyone's on board. So Signal, it's just like WhatsApp. We put out a roster on that. We've got Microsoft Teams and Project that we run daily to make sure that our projects are sort of being delivered on time and on budget. Running sheet each day, so where all the crew is, where every vehicle is, where every excavator, bobcat, tip truck. So we do keep a tight handle on it. We've got a planning meeting this afternoon, so we're mapping out the next 2 weeks of work. So the logistics of making sure that all the excavators, the bobcats, the tip trucks, the right skill sets are in the right place for the next 2 weeks, so that we can achieve what we want to achieve. Those systems are really important. So it's not necessarily difficult. Maybe early days, you've got a couple of employees, you can do all that in your head. It's really easy to probably manage that, and you do it before you go to bed. Yep, maybe jot down something on a piece of paper. But as you become, a little bit bigger, and you're relying on other people, other managers. Well, you've got to get out what's inside your head, and not necessarily put it on paper. It's got to be on a system that everyone can buy into, that everyone's got access to, and the like. So, yeah, we've invested that, and since COVID, probably ramped it up even more with people working from home and remote working. So not necessarily seeing everyone at the factory every morning and just having your 2 bobs worth before they go out, or you might see them on site. Yeah, so it's sort of been important to really ramp up those systems. And yeah, look, as much as that doesn't come natural to me, I'm more of a landscaper than a systems operator or sitting behind the desk. It is extremely important to have those in place. Otherwise, you can come unstuck pretty quickly and get yourself into a spin. It's nice to be able to have a client email, and you can just go back straight to them with you've jumped on your app, you've seen the progress, you've seen some photos, and you can answer any of those questions, and you might not have to even be on site. So it does take a bit of work. Some of the staff need constant reminders about that, but that's probably our point of difference. We really drive that home, and people that we're employing might not have come from that system. They definitely know how to landscape, but we sort of say it's the Indigenous design way. So we'll teach you what we know, and we'll teach you behind the scenes stuff. It might be a little bit more of that than you used to, but once you understand that, it'll be better for everyone. We can communicate the way we need to, and it's important. But that unpaid work sometimes is hard.
Yeah.
Hard to do. But once it's set up, it's set up.
Yeah, and they're only as good as how you use them as well. Those kind of systems, like you say, if people need reminding it, because if you're not using it, then it doesn't. Not if everyone's not using it, it kind of falls down. But that's one of my issues is transferring everything from my head to the way that where guys can read it. But also not giving too much information that they get overwhelmed with everything. So yeah, it's a balance between that. But I just remember that you were the person who got me onto Trello as well, because I still use that. Do you use that at all?
Up until probably a couple of years ago, we were, and then we moved. Yeah, we moved away more to Microsoft-based sort of programs. Yeah, so sort of SharePoint, yeah, Teams and projects. So, I mean, I personally still use Trello because it's a really good notepad and sort of just keeps me on track off to the side. So, but yeah, no, look, it's good. I mean, I wanted to invent an app. I had all of this worked out, and I put it on paper how I wanted this app from the job coming in to the job tipping out. And I had this lady come through and she couldn't give me a price. And this was, 5, 6 years ago, maybe longer, I'm not sure. And she quoted me some outrageous quote. I thought, well, no, I just can't physically do that. And then she actually advised me and she said, oh, well, have you heard of Trello? And I sort of said, no, I haven't. So that's where Trello came about. And look, it's a bit like my phone. I only sort of use it to call and text message, a couple of emails. It's super powerful. So is Trello. You can really use Trello, to work for you. So we just changed. We had a couple of staff members come through and had some other ideas, and I'm really open to all of that. And at our monthly toolboxes, we talk about change and safety all the time, and that was one thing that we decided to change was Trello. We thought we could do something a little bit different for some of our bigger projects, and it works for some of our smaller projects too. So always changing, always just trying to find that best fit, I suppose. So Trello worked for a period, and now we've moved on. Yeah.
Yep. And you talked about machines before. How many excavators would you have? And what sort of sizes are they?
What do we got? We've got, I think, 6 excavators, so ranging from 1.7 ton on a trailer up to a sort of 10-ton excavator, a couple of 3.5s and a 5.5-ton excavator. So we do a lot of rock work. So I've got rock grabs and tip trucks and bits and bobs. So and then just a couple of bobcats. Yeah. So one on tracks and one on tyres. We hire small machines as we need them, little posi tracks and whatnot. So, I mean, back in the day, I didn't have any machines, and we would always just subcontract that out. And as you get more and more work, you buy your first machine, and away you go. I actually sold the first machine I ever had, a little bobcat on a trailer, and sold it to a young kid who was just starting his concrete business. And got a photo with him, and off he went. And so that's a great story. It served me well. I've gone from hiring a dingo to a little 468 bobcat, and it's done a lot of hours, but looked after it, and hopefully now he can set up his business with that being his first machine, and away he goes. So look, we do a lot of machine work. We like to see the project from the start to the finish. And it's an area we, I suppose, specialise in. A lot of landscapers sort of in our area and have machines, maybe subbing that out, and we try and keep that in-house. It does come with its issues, a lot of maintenance and a lot of cost, but that far outweighs the benefit of, for us, we feel anyway, in holding that plant and machinery. Yeah.
Have you got like a mechanic or anything on your team, or someone who's?
Oh, actually, no. I tell a lie. Yeah. We had Ross. Yeah, he was a motorbike mechanic, actually a Harley mechanic, to be precise, and so he knows his way around small engines. So he's a qualified landscaper, and he also is what we would call our depot hand. So any tools that break down or things that need repair, we'll tag it out, we'll put it in a certain area, and we'll put it up on Signal, notifying Ross that something needs fixing, and he'll have a look at that. So if he can fix it, he'll fix it. If he can't, he'll ship it off to the right place, just so that all of our tools are, always in good condition and nothing's put back that's broken. So, but from a machinery point of view, no, most of that stuff, and just get a field mechanic to come out to site, or if it's a small machine, we'll take it off to the mechanics to get repaired. So that's how we roll.
And I listen to a lot of US and North American podcasts, and they're all going crazy about tilt rotators on their excavators. So do you have something similar to that, or is it just a rotator on the?
Yeah, it sort of tilts. It doesn't rotate 360. Yeah, the attachments, they cost a lot, and we've hired them, but no, we've just got rock grabs and bucket grabs, so they just tilt sideways and make it a little bit easier. And when you've got to go 360, you can sling rocks in or just shunt them around. So look, maybe in time, but
I think they're like 60 or 70 grand, aren't they? Those
Yeah, look, yeah, and probably depends on the size of the machine too. So,
yeah.
I mean, with all the buckets and the grabs and the ripper and whatnot, there's not much room left on the truck. So, yeah, you got to draw the line somewhere. So, look, we may in time, but yeah, for the moment, what we've got seems to serve the purpose.
Yep. Do you do like, and you mentioned a few wetlands before as well. Like, do you enjoy doing them?
Yeah, we probably so the other side of the business does a lot with wetlands. Maintaining them more so. I've had a lot to do with construction of wetlands through developers over the years, and then all the surrounding landscaping. So, yeah, look, dribs and drabs. There's some other competitors out there that probably have an advantage over us where they grow their own plants and can be a little bit more cost effective. So we do probably more maintenance with wetlands and water sensitive urban design assets through developers and council. So yeah, new wetlands, not so much, but the maintenance and the upkeep, yeah. So we do a little bit of work for Melbourne Water project coming up in the next couple of days where we're just removing a water weed for them and just improving the asset so that yeah, it can continue to grow. So yeah, probably more the maintenance of the wetlands these days. Yeah, I mean we finished we do ponds that residentially, and we finished a sort of small lake last year with stem, and we treat it like a wetland, sort of its own little ecosystem for the plants, the quality of the water and reticulation and all the rest of it. So yeah, the principles are still the same, but yeah, probably just a little bit on a smaller scale. So yeah, like I said, the machines we've got only go up to 10 tonnes. So those guys have got some serious machines that dig a lot of dirt and create wetlands. So yeah, we're sort of a step or two behind those guys. Yeah.
Right. And where does the knowledge come from on knowing how to maintain the wetland plants? Is that the other side of the business, or have you just learnt that as well?
Yeah, well, a lot of the commercial projects we work for, we're following landscape plans from a range of architects, sort of all over. So, reading a lot of those plans and being involved with local government work and commercial projects, you really just learn along the way. So, yeah, we definitely know our plants, we know our weeds. So, being able to maintain like a wetland that way is quite simple. So, and just desilting and removing water weeds. It's not rocket science. It feels like water is a big part of what we do. We're always dealing with rocks and water. So yeah, I love a challenge and being off the tools a little bit more. I get to try and nut out these projects prior to us starting and work with the clients. So reasonable trust out there with a few of the repeat clients. So yeah, maintaining wetlands. We've got one coming up at Toorong Reservoir up in King Lake, and we're working with people that didn't build it. They've got to maintain it. The water feature's not working properly. It's not aerating. So we're just going in there with boats and just having a bit of a look around and try and see if we can nut out what has previously been built. Plans aren't as built drawings. So yeah, it's a bit of touch and feel and experience, I suppose, and the passion. You don't have the passion for that sort of stuff, you probably wouldn't find it interesting. So definitely something that wasn't taught at trade school, or yeah, it's sort of handed down, I suppose, through passionate people and yeah, just reading a bit, I suppose.
Yeah. So what point did you get off the tools?
I don't mind getting on the tools still now, to be honest, and just helping out. But yeah, look, probably back when I became a director back in 2008, I was starting to wean myself off the tools, sort of working, 2 or 3 days on the tools or a full week or see a project out. And that went on for years and years. So it's really probably been only the last 5 years where I've really been completely off the tools. I've only ever jumped on the tools if, I just want to get involved or it's a project away from home. So we do a little bit of work down the desalination plant at RSV Club down at on Thaggy, and I just get down there and help out and stay and get involved and help some of the younger guys and just sort of set projects up. So yeah, I suppose I've been weaning off for a while, which is has been hard because, like I said before, I'm probably more my skill set's more on the tools than it is behind the desk. But yeah, it's been hard. But having good people around me has really helped. The managers I mentioned before have really helped me sort of develop what I need to develop, and just keep the business health in check, I suppose, and has made it easier to get off the tools and have that trust in others. So I'll still roll up onto site spontaneously and have a bit of a chat, but it's more all the fluffy stuff, hey, this is looking great. The client's really happy. I've got some nice emails. So great work, guys. And, maybe parts of knowledge on an apprentice as you're walking out of site and pull he or she off and have a little chat. It's not rolling up the site now and talking about, budgets and timelines. It's, become quite full circle now, and I can really just appreciate and, just pass on my knowledge, I suppose, to the staff, which is great, which is really good.
Yeah. And the first place I met you was at the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show when you were building Emmeline Bowman's boutique garden that won the gold that year.
Yeah.
So what was that like for an experience to get thrown into?
Yeah.
You hadn't worked with her at the time, had you?
No. I hadn't worked with her at all. So I'd been to the garden show, but not much, I suppose. We're Landscape Victoria members, but that sort of probably became late in the piece too. So we sort of just stuck to what we did. And then, Em came around and she had heard of us and thought, oh, this is a good fit. She sent the plans through, and when I saw the plans, I was just blown away with her detail and just how it aligned definitely with what we do, but how she's incorporating water and just the flora and fauna and all the landscapes. So they look beautiful and stunning, as but there was so much more meat behind it that we were always dabbling into. So it felt like a really good fit. So I met up with her and we had a chat. And like I said, I had never built a garden show before, a boutique garden at that stage, actually. So had no idea what I was getting myself in for. So we started to build it, knock it up. And, it was a really lovely experience. We met, obviously, yourself and heaps of other landscapers. So it was tough, as you know. It was, long days and a lot of prep and a lot of long days. So we were fortunate enough to win that year. And, and then from there, forged a really good relationship with them. So she was just starting out. So we sort of work a lot together these days. And, so it was great. I mean, the next year we did a garden show. So, it's a big step up. We were on the corner and it was a big site. And, we probably stupidly built the back of a house before we started landscaping. We had the backdrop of this deck and a wall garden and, this pergola. And we were toiling away for 75% of the time on that before we actually started landscaping. And I remember the stress and the long days, day 3, I remember on the way back ringing Dad saying, Dad, I just don't reckon we're going to get this done. We are so far behind the program and, I just can't see it happening. And, and as you get it done and you work longer days and other people are helping pitch in behind the scenes. And, look, we, I think we got a silver medal there. So, that was good. It was good. So really enjoyed it. It's just the networking. Yeah. So we got a lot of work out of it. Not all at once. It sort of is a slow feed, I think. So, but it was just good to get involved and sort of see what other people are doing and just see what you can achieve. The guys still talk about now what we achieved in such a short amount of time, and the photos all up around the office of the garden shows and all of our projects. And you just sit there and you're having a cuppa and you look at them and you just remind yourself of what you did and how proud you should be. All the guys of what we achieved. It's a great thing to do. It's a challenge, but it's well worth it. So maybe we might do it again. Who knows? I think we were going to do another one with STEM, but then COVID got in the way. So
right. I was going to ask if you would do it again.
Yeah, no, we would. Yeah, we would. Yeah, no, we definitely would. Yeah, it's nice to support the industry and I suppose stay relevant and let people sort of see what we're doing and show off a little bit of what you can do. I suppose it's what the garden show is all about. It's not necessarily exactly what you'd build in someone's backyard, but it's just sort of giving people a taste of what you can do. And the boutique garden back in 2017, it was a little pond, and but that could be extrapolated out to a lake or a wetland. So we'll get back there.
Yeah, cool. You could design it yourself as well.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. Yeah. Yeah, we need to plan for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully one day we'll see. Another
yeah,
one with STEM will be good. So it's nice to collaborate. I mean, it's
yeah,
like I said, it's hard to do it all, to build it all. So you need to rely on other people. So that collaboration is, yeah, I think important for our business, but also important for the garden show. It's probably, yeah, a good sign of actually how you run your business is how you do the garden show. So you're working with everyone. And it's a real team effort landscape. It's extremely laborious, as you know. So you lean on everyone. So yeah, we'll see. Never say never.
yeah. I had a question the other day from someone asking about a lot more subcontractors getting used within landscaping, so people aren't doing all of it themselves like landscapers typically do. Do you do any of that? Like get subcontractors in for certain elements of the landscaping? Like, I'm not talking electricians or plumbers, but stuff that a landscaper traditionally would do.
Yeah, we definitely used to use more subbies. So I suppose that's another way of how I transitioned out of being on the tools. Is I had a smaller crew that relied on subcontractors to be able to come in and turn the job over and maybe subcontract out, some of the carpentry work or the machine work, like I mentioned. So collaborate with a lot of subcontractors, and then we sort of started to grow a little bit more, and I suppose not rely on our subcontractors. And that's probably where we are at the moment. We've got a few subcontractors, but yeah, we probably do most of our work in house. But with the workload we've got coming up, and most landscapers are in the same boat there, we'll start to lean back on our subcontractors. So it's a balance, I suppose. We can say we do everything, which we can, but business health sometimes needs subcontractors to help out, not necessarily because you can't do it or you can't do it as well, but it's more just timelines and getting the project done in a timely manner. So commercially, we're contracted to dates, and if we don't meet those targets, that looks sort of not great on our behalf. So that's where we'd look to use subcontractors just to speed up our program and help out. So yeah, fill the gaps, I suppose. Yeah.
Yep. And do you have a preference on, like, do you enjoy commercial over residential one more than the other, or because residential is similar kind of gardens, it's not much different?
Yeah. Oh, look, I probably started more commercial and then went into residential, and now we're probably 50-50 split. I suppose as I get older, I'm liking more the plants and the design, and whether that be commercial or residential, it really doesn't matter. I get probably get a little bit more satisfaction out of residential work because we have more control. Commercial work, there's a little bit more red tape, and yeah, there's you're working with other consultants to pull off a project. So we just finished a design for a council where we just designed sort of the gateway, the entrance to the Shire, and you've got great ideas, but by the time the plan's finished with the community involved and so many different players, it's your design, but it sort of feels like it's not your design. It's sort of things have been cut, and the box at the end is so small to get through that the design falls where it falls. So it's still lovely and it'll still be great, and it's still a really good project to be a part of. But there's just a little bit more, red tape and people involved in the commercial world. So yeah, residential you can sort of show your flair and get a bit more creative. So that balance is good. Yeah.
I reckon there'd probably be a lot more appreciation in the residential as well. Like some of the commercial projects that you do aren't like they're not a shopping center, so there are more meaning to it. But working for people who it's their own house, it'd be a lot more appreciation.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. Yeah, but I mean, commercial landscaping probably got a bit of a bad rap early in my career because there was just a lot of sort of maybe a lot of planting, a lot of mulching, a lot of turfing, a lot of path work. So a lot of the one landscape task, and maybe there wasn't so many landscape architects really designing commercially, or our space anyway, where we were, they weren't. So these days, there's some amazing commercial landscapes being built, and local government and developers are really investing in that open space. And designing so that people are attracted to that new subdivision or that school. Like we do a lot of schools, and the work we get and the flair we get to show at a school. Inviting kids to come in and let us know what they want to see in the design, all that sort of stuff. So commercial landscaping has become a lot more intricate, like residential landscaping always has. So Yeah, you definitely get kicks from both. Sometimes you might feel like you're doing more residential than commercial, and it sort of swings around a little bit. And who knows what's happening in the next couple of years with the way the economy's going? Maybe things might tighten up in the residential space. So having that diversification does help. It definitely helped during coronavirus too. So we're able to continue on and do a lot of commercial work. So that kept us going for sure. So yeah.
And with having the amount of staff you've got, do you do any staff training or anything like that outside of work, or get-togethers to help their mentals?
Yeah, like I said, we have toolboxes and we talk about a whole host of things. So generally be around safety and around if there was an incident or a near miss, or we might have a new tool and we just want to make sure that everyone knows how to use that tool properly. So, but throughout that toolbox, we discuss a whole host of things, and that's upcoming toolboxes and whatnot. So we've had people come in on those toolboxes and teach us how to lift things properly. So manual handling is a big risk to our business, to all landscapers. So we'll have a consultant come in and just show us how to lift a bag of concrete or lift a sleeper, and when to use two people and proper techniques and stretching and all the rest of it. So yeah, we try and come together as much as we can. We have a lot of chats at the depot and come together and have performance reviews, and plenty of opportunities for people to speak out about how they're travelling, or maybe if they're feeling pigeonholed or want to experience something else. So go from commercial to residential, or do a little bit more carpentry, or jump in the machines, or whatever it is. So it's there's plenty of opportunity for the guys to speak out. That's for sure. It's sort of part of what I do now. So being general manager, just make sure that business health is there, and got the right staff coming in. The staff we've got are well trained. All of our apprentices are trained through Murray Mallee, who it's all on-site training. So their teacher will come out once a month and go through the subjects that they've been going through, but they'll do all on-site training with us. So got a couple that go elsewhere, and they might have come part of the way through their apprenticeship. So they'll see that out, whether they're at Holmesglen or wherever they are. We invest in our training. If anyone wants to upskill, get their truck license, or do a design course. Of one of my young landscapers who's just finished or just about to finish his qualification. He's a quiet sort of guy, but he's just got so many hidden talents. He's just an amazing drawer, and he came to me, said he wanted to chat, and I'm just like, and he came into the office, and I'm looking for the piece of paper, the resignation letter. No, good, that's not there. He just wanted to chat about doing some design work and helping design, and I was, really rapt, because I knew he had that talent. He's a really good landscaper. He works really hard. And, a lot of the good landscape designers I work with, they've had a good time on site. They've been in and around a site. They understand how sites run. So he's got the runs on the board there, and if he's got the drawing capabilities, I find him a really great candidate to help out with some of our internal design. So I'll be pushing that, maybe once he finishes, we can pick up a course for him that, might work for both. It's improving everyone's skill set is a big thing, and just making sure that work-life balance is there. So, I tend to want to work long days and whatnot, and probably early days expected everyone to follow suit, but that's just not the case these days. We've got an ad out at the moment, a couple of casuals, just looking for 3 and 4 days a week. It seems like that's what the groundswell of people want there, is to be able to, have a life outside of work, have the family, go to work 3 or 4 days a week, and maybe their partner also works 2 or 3 days a week and sort of complements that full-time salary, and they have a better life. And we get someone that well rested and comes to work and is really keen, and there's no burnout. So we're very, very aware of that, and if we can help facilitate that by the way we operate, then we will, and we're looking at that. So yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that, because just today, as we're recording this, Martin Semkin's episode got released today, and he was talking about, like, he's got 80 staff, but 20 of them would be on 1 day a week, 3 days a week for that exact same reason. And
Yeah.
it made me realise that a lot of landscapers are, they might be my size, so just three employees, and they're looking to add one more. So you might need, and no one can find anyone, so you might need to think of it differently and advertise a position for 3 days a week. And then if you get someone doing that, then you can advertise the other two, or you can just focus everything on those three for the bigger projects. But yeah, you've got to be more flexible with people these days with how much they work.
Yeah, that's right. It sort of seems like there's a lot of people just want that casual relationship with their workplace. So it probably means a little bit more organising behind the scenes, making sure that, Monday, Tuesday we've got these, and Wednesday, Thursday. So and making sure that the work doesn't suffer. But yeah, if it means we've got people that come to work and are really happy to come to work, and it works for us, it probably needs a bit more organising, and our overheads will probably go up, I'm sure. But if that's the way of the future, well, we're getting on board early and just making sure that we're a part of that. And I'm 45 this year, and I sort of thought that I would be winding down to 4 days a week come 45, 50, and that that might be the case. But if it's starting early, well, that's fine. That's just the way it is, and you can't sort of fight it. You've got to go with it. And my brother works at Telstra, and they've been super flexible with their working from home, and talking to him about that sort of that more the white collar industry, and trying to implement a lot of their practices and the way they do things into our industry has helped. So thinking about staff outside of work is super important, and we can make their life easier. It's better for everyone. So yeah.
Do you have any goals that you actively plan, like 5-year goals or anything like that you work towards and reassess or anything like that?
Look, personally, yes, and with the business, of course, yeah. So yeah, look, we're sort of in a phase where we just want to maintain and consolidate, I suppose. So yeah, we want to keep doing what we're doing. We're trying to become more green. So during coronavirus, where things didn't line up with works, and you had to split off into groups, so there was no sort of contamination, we invested heavily in setting up sort of recycling bays, and sort of setting up like the soil yards, really, where we could have all our soil and mulch bays, and steel recycling and whatnot. So pushing into being more conscious of where our materials come from, and our footprint, I suppose. So we offset all our vehicles and our machinery through Green Fleet at the moment, and we're looking to become carbon neutral. We're speaking to a consultant at the moment about that process and how to sort of lessen our impact, I suppose, on the ground that we work. So that takes time and a few adjustments, but we're not using steel anymore. We're using rebar. So we're trying to get away from using steel mesh in our concrete, and using more sustainable products that, in fact, are better and possibly cheaper in some areas. But yeah, looking to I suppose push down that green side of the business. We've always thought of it, and we always think like we're doing the best we can. But yeah, there's always improvement. So yeah, I suppose just the material choices and the way we design things is probably the next phase of us really consolidating what we do, and making our clients aware that we might not be the cheapest contractor out there, but we invest heavily in the crew and the facilities behind the scene, and that the dollars you spend are going in the right place. And we're trying to look after the environment back here, and do our little bit, just look after our patch. So that's probably where we're heading. I mean, I love the great outdoors. I've got a farm and a little bit of land that I sort of dabble with, and over the summer holidays I was collecting seed, and I love that sort of horticulture meets regenerative farming. So a lot of our commercial clients are heading down that path too. So trying to merge what I know and what I've learned along the way is probably where I'll keep pushing. Yeah.
So what does it use in your concrete? Is that like the glass fiber?
That's right. Yeah. Bowen's stock it. Not sure if Mitre 10 and others, but yeah, Bowen's stock it. So I think they're sort of pushing for Australian standards in a lot of engineering applications at the moment. So But for concrete footpaths and edge beams and under slabs for paving, yeah, we'll use that hands down. We've pushed a couple of councils down that path, and we have had some success there. So a lot of the playgrounds we're not using steel anymore. So we're hopefully trying to educate those guys as well. We only know bits and bobs, but where we can make improvements and where we see a material that should be pushed. It's huge in America. So yeah, it's just one of the things we do.
So how does it work? Like if you were replacing a normal, 72 mesh with 200 mil squares, would you use is it 200 mil squares that you make with that?
Yeah, so it's the same thickness rebar, but the spacing's just changed. So, if you're going from, 72 up to sort of 82 and more, 92, it just the spaces come in or it dances out. So, yeah, it doesn't come in sheets. It just comes in 5.8 metre lengths. So there's a lot of tying. It's very flexible. So it's good for doing curves, which we seem to do a lot of, curved driveways or, curved footpaths. So, so it does go together. It's really super lightweight. So we haven't got guys trying to lift off sheets off the side of the shipping container at the back and, putting it onto the truck. It's really lightweight. You can carry, don't quote me, but you can carry something like 3 or 4 sheets worth of steel on your shoulder the site. So, so from an environmental point of view, it's great, but also, one person can set up a concrete pour because there's just bugger all cutting, bugger all wastage, and it's nice and light. So, yeah.
And how does the cost work out?
It's cheaper.
Yeah, right.
Cheaper.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Durabar, I think they're on Instagram, and Bowen's definitely stock it. So, yeah, it's worth a look. There's a few contractors using it, and a few landscapers. So, yeah, it's worth a look. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one of the worst parts about concreting is having to wrestle the Rio in and pick it up on I've got to use my truck to pick it up because it's too long and
it comes on the back of the truck and it's all folded over and you're trying to lay it down flat and so it's worth having a look at. There's times are changing with all those materials coming in. It's sort of landscaping sort of felt like it didn't change for years and years and it wasn't being taken over by computers and robots and all the rest of it, but there's really a lot of new technology coming into our space, which is fantastic. And there's a lot of research being done. So that's just sort of one of the things, yeah.
Have you got one of those battery-operated rebar tyres?
I've got an email sitting in my inbox. Construction managers all over getting one of these. So we don't. We've hired one on a couple of bigger jobs and borrowed one from a pool installer that we do a lot of work with, a pool and garden company, Simon. So, look, we will. Yeah, we will. But not just yet. I think they're not $3,500 or something like that. So,
I thought, I looked into another. I might get one of these, and then I saw the price. I'm not getting one of them. It's like $3,500. I don't think so.
No, I know. So, look, in time, we'll see.
Yeah. Last question for you, Liam, is who do you think would be a good guest to have on this podcast?
Oh, gee whiz. Good guest to have on the podcast. I don't know. Look, I look up to a few companies out there, but in the commercial space, I've been really impressed with Ace Contracting. So I wouldn't even know who to contact there. They're a big mob. I think they've still got a single director, and he's an older gentleman, I think. But having one of them on would be great just to see how they manage big projects and how they coordinate everything. So I'm impressed with their work.
Oh, good one. Yeah, I haven't had any hardcore commercial folks on, so that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
All right, Liam, thanks so much for coming on today. Really appreciate your time and everything you've shared.
Beautiful. Thanks, Joel. And good to talk to you and love watching the podcast.